Good day and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, I've been doing the mission solo so far, and today I'm just going to discuss about a little bit of the mistakes I've made in soloing. So, before I go on, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe, leave a like, or comment on my video. And if you dislike the video, please leave a comment. Also, all criticism is welcome. And I'd like to thank Joseph from the Eve team for telling me that my audio is a bit funky on some of my videos. And that's just about it. So, thanks again to the Eve team. Okay, so now getting back to doing the solo for Patriotism mission, the mistakes I've made. So, first of all, in the attempt I made yesterday, I went the into a new sector with the station available for me to dock at. So everything was going perfect in the fight, and I won't lie, I even was doing well on the third wave, which I didn't know was going to spawn. But the second wave a little bit threw me off a little bit because it had 10 elites in it, and I managed to defeat them rather easy. Now on the third wave, I ran into a problem. The problem was all of a sudden I couldn't navigate away, and not being able to navigate away meant that my warp disruptor wasn't my warp core stabilizer wasn't working to stop the warp disruptors, and that made me ask, why is it not working correctly? So I went back in, I double checked all my settings, I double checked what was going on, and I went in and out a few times, and I figured out that for some reason the game was lagging, because I even launched myself into the area and I even know the exact amount of time it takes. It took me almost 25 seconds to arrive to the area where I launched to, which was directly into the mission from uh, 2AU. So lag was actually my biggest problem, or maybe a server delay due to area distance. So overall, the fight was going fantastic until I finally got destroyed. And when I got destroyed, it was purely based on lag. I got a reconnecting screen when I was 28 Ks out, and when I returned to the game, because some of the enemies you have to chase, I was right at them at 1 kilometer, and I re-established my orbit to 35 Ks. It refused to accept. I did 50. It refused to accept. I did 80. It refused to accept. It refused to engage the the stasis webifier. It refused to engage anything else on the ship. And it was at that point that I realized I was reconnected into the fight without having my controls reconnected. And my ship was destroyed, and 3 or 4 seconds later, controls returned. So it looks like when you're in big fights, you should expect there to be a lot of lag. So my big mistake was I decided to challenge the big mission without taking extra precautions against the against the necessary things to think about, like thinking about the factor of lag. So, keeping my distance at 35, I've noticed that the elites are playing a little bit dirty, to say the least. They kite me away from each other and they swap in place so that I have to attack the next one. Otherwise, I take damage. And if I approach too quickly to one of them, the other one will approach in and it will be 2 on 1 instead of 1 on 1. So they really have given them a very good tactic when it comes to this mission. And it definitely wasn't meant to be soloed by the looks of it. So let's see the next thing. They're not allowing me to go near any of the regular ships. The moment I start hitting a regular ship, 5 elites will come and they'll swarm me. So basically, they're trying to keep me away from the regular ships so that they have the advantage, which is fantastic as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so I can actually pull in the battle cruiser today. Uh, okay, so I was also told that I need to edit my videos a little bit. So in this week, I'm first going to try out one of two mics for a better recording audio. And if y'all do notice any problems in my audio, please give me a hint at it, because even though I do go through the video, I'm actually busy with other things on the side. And at the worst, I don't want to end up giving terrible audio in the video because I couldn't view it. Normally, I look at the video itself and make sure that it's playing on YouTube instead of looking through all of the audio on YouTube because the audio gets distorted a bit. I don't understand why. So let's continue on. Let's see how far I am. 5 minutes. The next mistake I made. When targeting enemies, you must remember to make priority the weakest ship when you're fighting large numbers against small. So I kept trying to take out the cruiser class vessels instead of the destroyer class vessels. I have destroyed quite a few of the elites already. That's because some of them don't run the shield regen, shield hardener, and shield booster. And all in all, the fight has been going my way most of the way. The only thing that I can complain about when it comes to the fight mechanics is uh, the small ships all bunch together. They bunch together so much that it makes it almost impossible to take them on one. And after you start taking out anything on the outer edge, they all just go in right towards the anomaly, not the anomaly, the patrol point, the mission point. They group together in a small cluster, and you can't hit them. So the next thing that I am thinking of doing is running in with uh, a torpedo launcher or a rapid fire missile, but that's going to take me too close because some of the elites still have the range. So my actual plan is to get rid of all the ranged elites, then go in with a rapid fire missile and take out the shield regen elites, and hopefully that will be all that I need to do. So for now, the first thing I'm going to do is get ready to go back in the fight, but I'm not going to record and fight at this time because it's become way too unpredictable. I'm using about 12 different coordinates to jump in each time, and I need to be on the controls so quickly it's almost unbelievable. Yesterday, I don't even understand why, but I got in at another angle altogether. It turns out an elite was sitting at that spot on its own in the middle of nowhere. And it was one of those annoying elites with the super strong shield. And I started hitting it. By the time its shield was almost dead, another two ships jumped in to save it. And obviously, that's where I got destroyed with the whole lag issue. So, overall, make sure that you think about the lag coming from multiple opponents because it's guaranteed not my lag on anything to do with my internet connection. I double checked it, I reset everything, I called my internet service provider, I made sure that everything was fine. Everything is perfect. They said my line is functioning 100% almost, actually at 85% capacity. The upload and download speeds are fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So I double checked the users in the house. Everybody is using their standard internet, nothing heavy, nothing too over the edge. So when you're fighting in these large groups and these large numbers, remember anything over 10 causes slight lag. Keep yourself at a distance. Don't try and engage the elites too much when they have those regen shields. Take out the regulars and the regular elites and then go after those elites, those regen shields last. So, how are you going to take them? You are going to first take your first wave of fighting with your trainer, Caracal, for example. I'm using the Caracal trainer to reduce cost. And let me just give you a quick show on my last defeat. I'm pretty sure I didn't delete that yet. Here's it. Okay. Loss report. It was only 5 million in damage. That's because everything on this was very low in terms of cost. The other problem that I've noticed is I remember reading on the last one about loot only dropping and disappearing after the mission is over. But while I'm in the middle of the mission, loot started to disappear. There was no loot left after 20 minutes of combat, which makes me ask, how are you supposed to loot an elite when you don't have the time to even get to the wreckage? Because you're fighting against a ton of elites, they're driving you around the map everywhere. If you back off them and head towards picking up loot, they're gonna catch you and smash you. Or you're heading directly into a bigger cluster of them and they're going to smash you. Needs to be worked on. They need to make the loot last till after the final enemy is killed, or they need to make all the loot drop once the final enemy is killed. Because it's not fair to have the loot disappear. Because you're taking a lot of effort to try and defeat these bosses, and when I first read that, that's exactly what I thought. Loot can only be taken once the encounter has been engaged. So obviously, you start the encounter, you fight, you destroy everything, loot is remaining in the sector. When your mission ends, you go through, you pick up all the loot, and you're out of there. And there's no need to worry about losses or damages to your troops. And there's nothing really all that bad. As you can see, I lost rigs on this ship, so this ship is right now running without any rigs. But overall, this is just a little bit of a complaint on the format of battling. You see, it's a mobile game and it's not the PC version. They need to add a little bit of extra to it. They need to understand that you don't have the stability from a computer's drawn internet, which is quite significant next to a phone. If I'm correct in my bit laying, it was what 138 bit on a computer. That means that it generates more of the image for you, while on the phone most of your image is directly related of 16 bits or 32 bits, depending on whether you're on iPhone or Android. So those are your basics on your devices. They've changed it down. They need to improve the rules. They need to improve the flow of it. Players don't sit in one place all the time. You're using a mobile device. That means you're going to be running around on a phone. So they need to be thinking about the inclusion of the solo player. I'm actually going to try and cut this here as short as possible. My notes were just to give a little bit of a blab on my weak points in it, but I have given a bit of a critique on the problems from the game point of view. So let's see, another problem that is particularly related to my tactic on fighting are the jump points. Even though there are a lot of jump points, some of the jump points are very close together. Remember, you're doing 100 Ks in from various astronomical units. The easiest thing to do is to open the star chart and nope, crap. Sorry about that. Do this, tap on it. View your solar system. Now, why is this important? Because it gives you where all the locations are. And you'll have a general idea if you can work out backwards where you're going. So, looking at the solar system, if I want to get two various angles, I know I can use these gates over here. The Risen gate and the Daijin gate to get an exact opposite. Then I can use Misoya and the station Moon 7. So using these points, I can get perfect angles on where I'm going in for the combat because they directly oppose in where they are in the system. Then also you have to try and figure out where the anomaly is. At 1.5 astronomical units, it's most likely somewhere near here in this first orbiting ring. So whatever you do, you're going to keep within that close range. You're going to try and hit it as good as possible. And remember, the orbits change as time passes. I've noticed that the game works like a real solar system. It's a drive engine. So always remember to double check your solar system at the time when you are fighting so that you know where you're jumping from. Okay, so I've rattled on about 3 things. Let's see, what else is there to rattle on about? And just double check that it's still here. Never know with the way these things go. Okay, it's still here. So far in this one, yeah, I haven't done any combat. That's because, as I said, it's a bit heavy at the moment. I have less than 17 combatants left, of which, if I am correct, 6 are elites, 4 have the heavy regen shields, 2 are just hard hitters from quite a distance. So I have to take out those 2 hard hitters and take out the remaining 11 regular ships. Then I can take on those shield regens with a little bit more of an aggressive strategy, taking in a bit more damage and trying to heal. And yes, so you saw the original setup that I had. I don't know why I'm going this way in when I can just do this. Okay, so this is the new setup on the ship because I got destroyed. I am running MK5 warp stabilizer, uh, MK5 afterburner, and a MK5 shield booster. Now, all this together gives me that little bit of extra tankiness, gives me a little bit extra speed, and gives me the ability to negate warp disruptors. However, the warp stabilizer doesn't seem to always work against the warp disruptors. It's not a fair balance as far as it should be. It negates it sometimes, and other times you have to be around, what was it, 82 kilometers away before the warp disruptor stopped affecting my vessel, which is absolutely ridiculous. 82 kilometers away means I literally had to fall out of the fight and find a way to get away from the enemies. It took me about 15 minutes to do it, and I had like 1 bar left on my ship. But getting that far away wasn't easy. I took more damage than you can imagine trying to get away. And that was because I got surprised by one elite when I wasn't looking at the names on the top. But fortunately, I escaped that one. That would have been a total mishap on my side. So that's going to be it for this video. Uh, Thank you for watching.